People in cars.
Yup.
Welcome to episode 2 of season 1.
And you got my...
Of People in Cars.
Got my wonderful blood.
I got Ben F, right?
B.F. Harvey.
What does the F stand for?
That's a funny story. I don't really know. I thought it'd be funny because then people would be like, oh, it's Franklin.
Wait, so your middle name doesn't start with an F?
My middle name is Douglas.
Then why do you label everything that you write with Ben F. Harvey?
B.F. Harvey because it sounds more literary in my mind.
Okay, so sometimes I tell people that my middle name is Libby. Like, people for some reason like to tell me what my name is.
Right.
My name legally anywhere is not Libby. My name is Elizabeth. Libby is just a nickname that I didn't choose. My parents chose Libby for me when I was born. So I've been going by Libby ever since. And so sometimes when I tell people that my full name is Elizabeth, they're like, no, it's not. I'm like, yes, it is. I know what my goddamn name is.
Nobody would go by like Libby as their like, their full name.
Exactly. Also, you're in charge of keeping this up.
Really?
But, yeah.
That's bogus.
Those things bend. I need, like, a tripod if I'm going to do People in Cars.
You kind of do.
Wait, I want to check out that Royal Farms. So we're going to go to Royal Farms.
Oh,
it's like
this
a
is what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I put the sing
now
single.
They can see my face now, but they can't see yours. That's also my fault.
Actually, that's not Royal Farms then. I just definitely did something illegal. We're putting people in cars on hold.
Frick. Something got in my eye. There we go. That's a good angle.
Yeah, people like to tell me what my name is. I'm like, no. They're like, no, your name... I'm like, my name's Elizabeth. They're like, no, it's not.
Honestly...
I'm like, yes, it is.
I like the idea of keeping the F up to interpretation because I'm just like that and I'm really lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I do have an idea of what it was like, but I also don't want to say because then that leaves a mystery.
Why, man, girl, I always gotta be great. We've been on a venture for water.
Yeah, it's been pretty not successful.
We just pulled into Royal Farms, and I did some illegal things to get us into Royal Farms.
Yeah, so whole curb.
I've done that before going into Wawa.
Why am I not surprised?
Because I'm a bad driver.
I'm
an awful driver.
There's been several moments where I've been like,
attacks.
if I'm going to die in the car, it might be with
He's like
Libby.
my last seconds.
Might be with Libby.
Or
I
filming
wouldn't be
a podcast.
shocked if this continues and then a car crash happens.
Why does this air smell like butt? Do I have like a gas leak or something?
If you have a gas leak, then
I definitely don't have a gas leak.
You did. Yeah, that'd be kind of an issue, but like...
Oh man, yeah, always gotta be great.
That kind of be an issue. Alright, so what do you want to talk about, homie?
We just went prom shopping, right?
Yes, we just went prom shopping.
And we met this lady
who
just out of nowhere just started talking to us for...
She was like,
honestly,
how old is your mother? I was
maybe like 7 minutes. Okay, and when I tell you it was weird, it was weird.
Yeah,
okay, because this woman, like, I'm fine with small talk. I really hate it, but I'm fine with it. I'll meet people, like, anywhere.
We got this.
Oh, yeah.
We got this smacking white
You got
thing.
these sunglasses for me?
Yeah, we got the sunglasses.
We got me a necklace that I'm not going to wear.
A necklace that she isn't going to wear, but bought anyways, and we're saying it's for quote-unquote prom. Yeah. And then we got this nice tie for me. And then we also got this, these socks. Nothing really special. Got orange on the bottom. $2. Got orange on the bottom.
Yo, is this merging? What the fuck?
Yeah, it kind of is.
What the fuck?
And then, but like, I'm going to be wearing shoes, so it don't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
And then, we also got this for me. I'm kidding. This is for Libby, by the way.
We probably spent 2 hours in a Boscov.
We spent...
And like 10 minutes of which was spent talking to this random crazy lady. About literally nothing, like... Okay, so she started talking about, like, she asked me how old is my mom, because I was calling my mom, and I was asking her, okay, which tie combination looks better? And then I get off the phone with my mom, and she's like, how old is your mother? And I was, like, thinking to myself, I was like, well, a lot of people think I'm in my 20s, so, I mean, I said, I was like, oh, my mom's not answering. It's probably because she's with my aunt. And when she's with my aunt, she's probably drinking way too many mimosas and watching way too much Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
And then goes, and then I get off the phone, and she's like, how old is your mom? I was like, 55.
Yeah, I was kind of sus there. I was like, is she, you know?
I was like, 55. Okay, so then she started talking about, like, drinking mimosas and whatnot. And then she just goes off talking about how her fiance is in the hospital.
Yeah, I was like, it was a very odd transition. I didn't understand how
I didn't know. I was like, is this going to be like, oh, my fiance's in the hospital because he drinks way too many mimosas?
Yeah, and then just like, but honestly, like, I feel like maybe that lady needed like somebody to talk to because she was like, she kind of was like,
even if it's two teenage strangers.
Yeah, she was kind of like, you know, I've been so busy and I haven't been able to talk to anybody. So I feel like she kind of was reaching out there, which like I would like you like I was glad to listen to her. You know, she was holding up just fine on her own talking. So like.
We were just like,
We were like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I got you, right?
Got
like,
you. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, I was like,
why, man, yeah, always gotta be great.
But that lady was pretty funny. They probably also have a green.
Oh, does that mean that I have to do that yielding thing?
You have to wait until they pass. Yes, that is what that means.
Is that what yielding means? See, I don't even know what yielding. I don't know who the fuck gave me my license.
Yeah, who the hell did
it was not a good idea.
At this stage, I'm a better driver than you,
I
Libby,
charmed this black lady, this nice black lady. I charmed her into giving me my license. Like, literally, I hit all of her codes, and I probably shouldn't have passed the driving test from parallel parking.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm kind of afraid about my test, but, like, at the same time...
When is your test again?
I'm, like, an okay driver. August 13th. You see, I was... My parents didn't want me on the insurance, so they were like...
Are you paying for your own insurance?
No. Oh. I mean, I'm not going to have a car, so...
Oh. Right.
I mean, I could pay into the insurance for them, but at the same time, they're like, yeah. And, like, I'm not going to have a car because like, my sister already has a car and we all need 4 cars on the insurance.
Mm-hmm. Did she buy her own car?
She bought part of it. I think she paid in, like, half.
I inherited this from my deceased grandmother.
Oh, really?
Well, I didn't technically inherit it. It's my dad's. Well, it's technically still Edith Susan Little's, but...
Edith.
I wonder if, like, lawnmowers like that are street legal. Oh, is this place open? They definitely have water.
What do you mean? They're a farmer's market.
One man got always got a big right.
I haven't been to this place. Oh my god. They sell liquor.
Ben went to go get his Coke opened with a bottle opener. And I forgot to film the intro when he comes inside.
Is it going? It's going. What's up, homie?
I forgot that you need to introduce yourself.
I'm Ben Harvey. There isn't really much to introduce.
How you know me?
Oh, I know Libby mainly because of writing and stuff. Well, because one day in freshman year, I was, you know, she was a junior, and like I was kind of, you know, I was kind of new to writing. Not new. I'd been writing quite a long time, like 2 years by that time, and so I was like, but I was still kind of working on it and needed some crafting. I also needed people to work with because usually the best way to learn something is to learn from others and to, you know, have people look at your writing. So
my chopstick melted. Continue.
So I didn't really know many people who wrote besides myself. Like there were a couple other kids in my grade who had done that, but like none that I could really go to for great input.
Guidance.
And so one day I'm on Instagram and I saw, you know, oh my gosh, this girl wrote an article. So I read the article, right? And it was on I think it was about was
that Leah's article?
That was Leah's article about...
Yeah, I wrote an article about anxiety and stuff.
I thought it was really good.
That was before my work with the Sentinel.
And I wanted to, kind of, reach out to her.
I think that was a good article.
That was a great article.
I think that was very well written. I wrote that, that took me probably like a week. Maybe 5 hours altogether to write.
And so I was like, okay, let me hit up this girl. And so I slid into her DMs, and I was like, yo, homie, that was a really cool article. Want to help me sometime? And she was like, yeah, bull. And then, I also kind of knew her at the time, just, by random occurrences.
Yeah.
I remember...
Because we grew up in neighboring cities.
Yeah, so, and, my mom knew her mom, and I knew her brother, and we also, so we were, it's always been a pretty professional relationship, I've always been,
we're friends.
We're definitely friends, but,
we keep everything...
Keep everything
classy.
Real and classy.
And, cheers.
Cheers.
Keep on cars. Yeah. My aunt literally said today, I said, oh, because I was talking, it's my mom and my aunt in the car. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, because I'm filming people in cars today with Ben, and we're going prom shopping because we got him his suit stuff at Boscov's. Mm-hmm. And she says, oh, is this the guy that you got a parking ticket at? And I was like, no, that's my ex-boyfriend. We'll call him Bill for now. That's my ex-boyfriend, Bill. And she said, well, what happened to Bill? I said, long story. Anyway, she's like, she says, well, who's Ben? I said, oh, he's my mentee. Taking him to prom. It's going to be fun. And she was like, well, are you having sex in front of my mother? And I said, no. No.
No.
And I was like, no. And she's like, well, why aren't you having sex? And I said, what? I was like, what? She was like, is he tall? I'm like, yeah, he's 6'2"-ish. You're 6'1", right?
6'1"-ish, yeah.
And she was like, is he funny? I said, yeah, he's pretty funny. He's pretty cool. And she said, well, why aren't you having sex? And I said,
because that's not how that works.
This is all in front of my mother. This is all in front of my mother. And my mother's like, Libby's not having sex. And I was, oh God.
Shit.
That's how talks with my aunt go. You mention a male, and that's just like, are you banging?
Sex.
Are you banging? I'm like,
no. No, that's not how that works. And
AK, anti-gay.
TK or AK?
Yeah, I don't have any aunts on my dad's side.
Oh, gotcha.
Which is weird because...
Do you have uncles?
No, they're all dead. My dad's an only child.
Wow.
My grandmother just died, so the only really relatives that we have are maybe my third cousins. I mean, my grandmother was one of 7 kids or something like that. But they're all dead. My grandmother was the youngest, and she was the last one to die. She was 94 or 95.
That's crazy.
And she just died in December. Yeah, it's crazy. She fell and she broke her hip, and she went into hip surgery. And this woman was titanium. I swear to God. I said to my friend Haley, I said, my grandmother got into a car accident 4 years ago, and she was 90, and the car flipped over, and she's still alive.
Yeah.
And my grandmother keeps falling and breaking things, and she's still alive. And then in December, she fell and she broke her hip, and that's what did it for her. I was like, are you kidding me? And I said to Haley, the day before my grandmother passed away, I said to Haley, I was making a joke, which was kind of insensitive, but I was like, I don't want my grandmother to die, obviously. I love my grandmother, I love Edith, but she won't die. She's titanium. This woman is like spiderweb in human form. She's just resilient. She just doesn't get hurt.
I have a similar situation to that. My uncle died, and he was 90, 91, and we always kind of joked. We always joked, man. I was like, man, Uncle Clint's gonna live forever. That man's never gonna die. Yeah. And he died 4 days later.
I thought this woman was gonna live to be honest to God. I thought this woman was gonna live to be one of the oldest people in the world.
If I could live to be the oldest people.
Because she was healthy, man. She was healthy. She ate right. And her brother too. Her brother was like 96, and he rode his bike like every single day until he died. And I was like, it's crazy. But I don't have a lot of family on my dad's side anymore. They're all the southern ones from the plantations, and I come from a long line of tobacco farmers.
Really?
Yeah, the land.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, my dad inherited land from my grandmother when she passed away, and it has like pine trees on it, but I think they grow cotton on it too.
So what is he?
I've never seen it, but no, I don't think he's gonna sell it. I think he's gonna keep it in memory of my grandmother.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not really super productive land. Like, no one farms on it or anything. It might just be pine trees. I'm not quite sure, but I know that my grandmother was buried with an embroidery. It was her casket was embroidered with like a pine cone and some pine needles in it because she always grew pine trees in Pink County, I think it is, where she grew up. That's where her land that my dad inherited.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of southern relatives. I have more.
Yeah, where are your parents from?
My parents, alright, so my dad is from Southwest Philly. He grew up there.
This is the story all about.
And then my mom is from Radnor, Pennsylvania, which is like.
Oh, my ex-boyfriend is from there.
So like, I was born in Pennsylvania, and then we moved here once my dad got a job at Stockton. So and like I was.
What does your dad do again?
He does like instructional technology, but at this point I don't know what he does. He kind of does a variety of different things.
Yeah.
And so my dad grew up in the pretty tough city. And he was a lot like me, kind of nerdy, tall, unathletic.
Lanky. You're
But my dad had major curls though, major like curly hair, especially in college. And yeah, my dad and I are kind of like dead exact, except for the fact that it's just gray now. All of his hair is gray, and so, but like he had a pretty rough childhood. His mom died at 16 of cancer, and his dad died when he was 20 of the same thing. They both smoked, like
chain smokers. Yeah.
They were both chain smokers.
The ironic thing about my family is that my grandmother grew up and all of her brothers and sisters grew up on a tobacco plantation, like acres and acres of just straight tobacco, and they would farm it, and then they would spear it and hang it up to dry.
Yeah.
But my grandmother never smoked. She was never a smoker at all. I mean, her mother, they both died by the time my grandmother was 14. So,
yeah, I never really had grandparents.
Yeah, I only have one living grandmother. That's why I'm kind of jealous of people who have two living grandparents.
Yeah, or like people that have like four. So the deal is, so those two died way before I was born. Like 30 to 40 years before I was born.
Crazy.
Maybe like 20 years before I was born. Because he was like 36 when I was born.
Yeah.
And so, then my grandpa on my mom's side was still alive when I was born, but my grandma had divorced my grandfather because he was a dick. And so she was like, bye. And he was just really not a good guy. And so I never met him, and then he died when I was in 2005, so when I was 3 of a car crash, and I think he went into cardiac arrest.
Oof.
Something like that. And then my grandma on my mom's side, she was the only one who actually lived, that I clearly I remember. She sadly got Alzheimer's, there's 2 different pronunciations, and they're 2 different diseases, but it's the disease where she forgot everything. Like she didn't remember.
Dementia?
Yeah, it was like, it was an extreme form of dementia.
Yeah.
Where you forget how to talk, speak. Most times they forget their families. But we don't know if she forgot us. I always think about it, but I'm pretty sure she remembered us, because like whenever we'd show up, she'd like smile, like have this really big smile, and She was the only, like, grandparent that I had and that I met all the time. And then she died when I was in the 5th grade.
Oof. Sorry.
And so she was, you know, she was really, you know, like, from what I heard, she was extremely, you know, nice lady, and she was a great mother. She was a single mom.
Yes, my grandma was a single mom, because my dad's dad died when he was, like, 2, and my grandmother never remarried, so she was a widow for, like, 50 years of her life.
That's crazy.
Which is pretty crazy.
I mean, yeah, that, like, losing a loved one is pretty sucky situation.
Yeah. We saw a picture of him hanging up and stuff. Like, my paternal grandfather.
We don't really have any pictures of we have a picture of my grandma, not any of my grandfather, although I've seen some of them on my mom's side. My dad's side, he doesn't really have a lot of pictures of them.
Why man always got to be great?
We were listening to this really dumb song on the way over to Boscov, and it was terrible. It was a really...
Okay, so this new Netflix film came out. It's called Someone Great, and it has my favorite actress, Gina Rodriguez, in it. She plays Jane on Jane the Virgin, which is my all-time favorite television show. Have you watched Jane the Virgin?
I've heard of it, and I've seen numerous girls cry about it.
Oh, it is so good. Yeah, that gets me. Like, this new season 5 is getting me. New episode is out tonight. But, so I watched this movie, and it's called Someone Great, and it's literally about nothing. Like, this girl, like, Gina Rodriguez, her character Jenny, and her boyfriend break up.
Right.
And that's the entirety of what the movie is about. It's about weed, a bunch of girls crying, and a bunch of flashbacks that make you cry. Like, that, like, there's no central, like, concrete
the only goal
conflict.
Is to really make you fall. Is that a central goal?
And I have problems with that type of movies, because I finished it and I was like, what did I just watch? There was no conflict, there was no resolution, like, there was no climax.
It was just pain.
It just did not follow the basic plot in the film and literature.
It was like, you know what? It just sucks.
I was over it. I was like, no.
There's no resolution.
Nope.
There's, you know, it just kind of happens. You just split off.
It's just like a bunch of girls going out to find weed, and then, like,
losing it.
Which is actually like so the thing about Gina Rodriguez is that I thought this was a really funny fact about her, that she on Jane the Virgin, there was this stripper. He was an actor, and one of the episodes was about how for her bachelorette party they sent a stripper to her classroom because she's a teacher, and he was dressed as like Don Quixote. And you know Don Quixote?
Kind of.
Yeah, the book. But Gina Rodriguez is actually married to that actor. Like, in real life. He appeared on like 2 episodes just to like bust through a door and take off his clothes, and that's her husband.
Oh, lucky.
It's gotta be great.
You want to talk about writing for a bit?
Yeah.
Alright, so...
I hate it.
You don't like writing?
No, I do. I love it. Yeah. But I just got my portfolio today. I need to put stuff in it.
Writing, honestly, it's kind of love and hate. Like, there's moments where I very much enjoy it, and I think that's probably the one thing that I'm best at.
Is that what you're going to major in college?
Probably.
It's like creative writing?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do. I might double major. I've thought about it a little bit.
What?
Double majoring. I'm going between creative writing. Creative writing is definitely in there. That's definitely a major. Creative writing in English or creative writing in history?
Okay.
Because I'm I'm solid at history. I find it very interesting. I really enjoy learning about it. And I think I'd be a pretty...
What was that? I
don't know what that was. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I'm literally...
Continue.
Oral condition. And so I think I could probably be a pretty good teacher. Like, I could probably...
I feel like you'd like bust through the door and be like, on the first day of school, you'd bust through the door and be like, what the fuck is up, motherfuckers?
I'd be like,
let's learn some history. It's like drunk history, but like you're completely sober.
Here, you can turn here. And so
oh shit, you're not going home. We're still filming.
Where are we going? Oh really? Oh shit.
We're just driving around. It's people in cars.
We only have like 10 minutes of footage before this even started. And so yeah, I feel like I could probably be a pretty entertaining teacher.
Yeah.
I'd probably like, you know.
I hate boring teachers.
I don't really want to. Part of me also, like, writing's my main devotion. Like, if I can be successful as a writer, then like, fuck everything else.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be writing, you know. But if I teach, then I think that would just be like something I'd be happy doing.
You should be like a.
But then again, I'm not making much dough. But like, yeah. I don't want to be. I don't have any.
Don't be stuck doing something you hate.
Yeah, I don't want to be like doing, you know, anything that like. I don't want to have to be stuck doing. Let's say like I don't want to be like a broker or a lawyer or anything like that. Like, I feel like they're all just. There's a lot of jobs that I think if I did, I would just be like. And also, my parents are teachers, so like. I kind of already know a little bit of how it works. Are we turning down this way?
Yeah.
Welcome to Pet Cemetery.
Actually, that's a cul-de-sac. I hate myself.
Yeah, that's a cul-de-sac.
That's not a road. Look at all these rich people.
I know like 2 of the people who live here.
Oh.
I'm not going to say though.
Yeah.
Because like that's
legal. On YouTube. Is that Miss Billy?
Yes, that is. But that we just... We just assessed that we were going to say who lives there.
It's okay, I'll bleep it out. Or something. I don't know. I put this in single.
Was that going to be the transition movie?
Why man, yeah, always got.
But yeah, cliche teen journal. That's what I write for now. So check that out.
Okay, you explain to me how you got that job again.
Alright, so I was off Instagram for a little while because I was like. I wasn't really feeling it, you know. Like sometimes you gotta take like a break off of social media and all that. And the only thing I have is Instagram. So I was like,
yeah.
And
Instagram's my main.
But so I would randomly check it.
Drop your Instagram.
Bihar 2002.
I always find it hard to tag you and stuff because like I always type Ben. I'm at Libby Little yet again. I've already explained that I'm out. Maybe I should make a separate Instagram for people in cars.
Maybe.
Once I get like a following.
But so I had gotten that job, coincidentally enough.
It's a blog.
It's a journal, but like I write for the blog page there. Mm-hmm. And so I was, you know, I went on and I saw that like this journal was requesting to follow me, and I followed several other teen journals.
Did they pay you?
No, they don't pay me. But like at the same time, like
you get paid in experience.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I thought that the Sentinel wasn't going to pay me, honestly, because I thought I was doing my work for free, and then they were like, they presented me with a $500 check at the end of the summer, and I was like, yo, if I knew that there was money involved, I would have tried so much harder.
Yeah. And so I had gotten that job by them following me. And I saw, you know, job applications for several spots. And so there was first viewer, second viewer, and third viewer. And they all, you know, they all had the focus on editing, you know. So I was like, all right, if I join as an editor, that would be pretty cool. Because I can give a pretty good opinion on a piece of work.
Editing is where it's at. And let me tell you, is because I'm a naturally very judgmental person. Like... And sometimes, like, I don't even write things that I'm not really into creative writing all that much. I just wrote a play, but, like, that's really the extent of success that I've had with creative writing. I do.
Very good play.
I do. Thank you so much. I love it. Maybe I'll publish it somewhere. I put that on my bucket list. This kid hyped me up so much. Like, he read that play, and he was like, yo, that's genius. And I was like, I really
was. Like, I know. Like, I really was like, I wouldn't, if I was like, like, I would, like, because as a writer, you have to give constructive criticism to others, you know, that's something That's why I always go to you. Melissa Keenan's a good example of that. You know, several other people that I go to. But you and Melissa Keenan are kind of like my set two people that I'm like, yo, look at this.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we figure it out.
And when you first hit me up, I was like, dude, I'm not qualified to, like, edit your work.
But, like,
I'm sorry.
Like, you're the one person that, like, I had any
out of everyone besides teachers who are qualified, I would be the most qualified, but I'm still not qualified.
Yeah, exactly.
If that makes sense.
So I was like, okay. And, like, I had previous mentors before that. Like, I had my 8th grade teacher, Mrs. Manzini, and she helped me out. Mrs. Waller, who's the creative writing teacher, she's helped me out a little bit. But, like, you know, a lot of my own writing has been, you know, I kind of had to build that. Like, I had to work for that. Like, I wrote maybe 200 bad pages of writing before I wrote 3 good pages.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, I had to really strive for that. And there are times where I was like, man, I don't want to do this. But, like, art, oftentimes, when you get involved into it, or you get sucked into it, then you're stuck.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like, you can't, like, you know, like, some people don't like it, you know, but if you find a way to be good at it, or you find an enjoyment in it, then you're not going to leave.
Yeah. I mean, I went through sort of like a halt in my writing and whatnot. What were we talking about? Were we talking about... Oh, editing. Yeah. So, I'm, like, really judgmental. So you would, like, come to me with your work and, like, print it out, and I was like...
You'd be like, fuck this.
Sometimes I'd be really, really harsh.
I mean, but, like, that was sometimes what I needed.
But, like, you know? Mostly about grammar stuff. I think I said to you one time, I was like, who the fuck taught you grammar? Or something like that. Something really offensive.
My grammar's always...
But, like, you always have fantastic ideas, which is, like, 90% of what writing is.
Yeah. And
then the 10% is, like, the grammatical part.
Yeah, I'm like... Honestly,
I was like, you can't just omit commas from your work, Ben.
No,
like,
that's what you wrote. That's what you wrote in the last piece I gave you.
Like,
which I did edit, by the way, and it was much better. But
I was like, yeah, this, like, you, what? I was like, what are you doing?
And so, yeah.
Like, I was like, you can't just write 2 pages with no commas.
And usually I'm like freaking crazy on
commas. Yeah, I had to take some commas out at sometimes and then put them somewhere.
Depends on the mood. Sometimes a little bit more.
Are you in a comma mood today?
Yeah, exactly. So I'd be like, but with cliche, I had applied for that position. It was like 2 topics ago, but we're going back to this. And so I applied for the position, and they wanted somebody who's more local, but they're like, do you want to write for us? And essentially in my application, I was like, okay, what can I say that will appeal to them? So I mentioned that I'd gone to writing camp.
Oh, yes.
I'd mentioned that, you know, several other accomplishments. I'd mentioned that, you know, I haven't been published, but I've been working on it, you know, and that I've been writing for quite a while now. And then what I think really kind of hit them, I was like, I didn't say this like this, but I essentially was like, I'm assuming that most of the people who are applying to you are girls.
Oh, that's true.
Because, you know, like, I've never, like, it's very rare that I come across...
That's because creative writing is such, I feel like... It might not be girl-dominated, but girls are a lot more angsty, I feel like, sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, boys aren't going to, like, you don't find a lot of boys who are, like, writing poetry about their feelings, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so...
And, like, all of the male poets I know are, like, depressed. No offense to you, like, whatsoever, but, like, that makes for a good topic for literature.
Yeah, like, being... I always used to have this mentality, which was a mentality that was kind of bad, but, like, also, like, really honest. Was like, when you look at some of the classic writers, the most successful writers, a lot of them...
Were depressed?
Were extremely depressed.
Yeah, fam.
I was like, I kind of thought to myself, I was like, okay, the more depressed you are, the better your writing is.
So many, like... people in literature committed suicide.
Oh, facts. Sylvia Plath, Ernest Hemingway.
Ernest Hemingway committed suicide?
Yeah, he put a shotgun to his head.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought he just died of old age.
No, he killed himself. And so...
Wow.
And so, like, that was kind of also a really bad mentality. I was like, because I was just like...
I was like, I hope
I gotta be depressed now if I want to be a good writer. But, like, that's not... I mean, that kind of is the case, but, like, also not the case.
Some of the best things I've written came out of sort of a mental breakdown.
Yeah, like a depression.
Like, I remember I wrote a scene of my play when I had, like, a mental breakdown.
Oh,
That first scene.
That was my favorite by far.
So the first scene of my play is based off of something that happened with me in real life, and of course I'm not going to name any names or anything, but his name starts with an M and N. No, I'm kidding. But, it's about, I'm kidnapping you until we're done this conversation. It's about...
Do you want me to take you down some really nice roads?
Yes.
Not this turn. Next turn on your left.
One man, yeah, we're gonna be
This might be a bit dangerous, but
it's fine.
We're fine.
Yeah. So the first scene of my play called Chapters in Green is about a guy and a girl who sleep together, and the guy's just trying to get into her business. Like, it's really not really about anything, but like there's an overlying theme to it.
Yeah.
That it's like stop faking like you care about someone just to get into their business, and stop and stuff like that. So
I've never approved that.
Yeah, that's what I did. The play is I love talking about this play because I told you after you read it, I was like, yeah, did you notice how all of the characters are named after a shade of green?
I didn't notice that, but then when she explained it, I was like, that's crazy. I was like, that's so genius.
I think it is pretty crazy. So everyone's named after a color green because green is something that symbolizes like good fortune and lucky.
We'll kind of just circle around the loop-de-loop, and then we can go through where Jesse's is, and then we can turn back and then go to my house.
Whoa. Wait, so make a right here?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So, green symbolizes, of course, like new beginnings and financial stability, economic stuff and whatnot, but...
I did not expect it.
Yeah, that's a really big street. But everyone in the play is not any of those things.
Okay, I know where we are. I do know where we are because I usually run down this road.
Oh, and then what really got you is when I said, oh, you know, Chartreuse, who's a character in my play, Chartreuse is a yellowish green color, and the color is named after the French liquor, and Chartreuse in my play is an alcoholic. And he was like, what?
I was like, that's crazy. Because, like, I love when, you know...
I love connections.
I love great creative ideologies. That doesn't make any sense, but, like...
It's fine.
And so yeah, and, like, I haven't really written... I've come up with several good ideas, and, like, now that I'm kind of in... like a blogger, now I have to kind of, you know, think of real life things, which is kind of easier for me, in a lot of ways. I wrote, you know, A King of the Wise, and that was a pretty honest piece, just about, like, dealing with death, dealing with the sad realities, and, like, you know, trying to figure out a way to move on in life after, you know, tragedies and such, and so, that was not the path that I was expecting us to take.
No, it's fine. I know. I can wind up.
And so...
I know where you live.
That's probably my mom calling. We'll figure it out.
Hi, Lisa.
Yeah. Be home.
Wait, put on speaker.
No, I'm not doing that.
Is she calling you?
Be home in a second, right? No, right. And so, that was like... You know, that was like... What?
Oh!
I know that kid.
I almost hit that kid. Who is that?
Your turn here.
Is that Xander Maddox?
No, that's some other kid. And so, the next piece I wrote was on diction and about writing and, like, how, you know, phrasing certain things.
That was the piece in which you didn't use any commas.
In which I, like, my grammar was shit, but my diction was...
Yeah.
And so... And so, then next thing I'm planning on writing might be an interview. With a couple of people, but, like, I need to check with my boss about it. I sent her an email a day ago with Andrea Celestine, who does a lot of art for me. She's a very good artist. And so
she's your boss?
No. Different. Dana is my boss. She's
from Cliche Teen Journal.
From Cliche Teen Journal. She's the founder / lead editor.
Yeah, I don't really put my ideas out there about things I've written because they're not like copyrighted. So I think that if I put my ideas out there to people I don't trust, like I might edit out me talking about my play because then I feel like someone's gonna take my idea. But then, I mean, if they do, I could always file a lawsuit and say that my thing predates theirs.
Remember, I lived there.
Wait, hold on, let me make a K-turn. Any last thoughts, questions, comments for people in cars? Anything you want our audience to know?
Don't be dick, please.
Don't be a dick.
And, always think about others. Get on my level.
Love you, Ben.
No problem.
Thanks for being on my show.
No problem.
Don't forget to bring your prom stuff in your house.
Right. Hopefully Lisa will enjoy it. But
Lisa will enjoy it.
All right.
Bye, Ben. Bye. Love you.
Love you too.
Aww.
I'll see you.
I hope she enjoys.
We'll be styling at prom, so get on our level.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram.
Yup. Bye, Libby. Thank you.
Bye, bud.
Bye.
Why man, y'all always gotta be great? Matter my face. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight.